Wake up, everybody. Wake up. Wake up. I know y'all awake if y'all already watching this. But welcome back to another Breakfast with Dr. Kojo segment. This is my morning segment. Y'all know that I go live at night. But every now and then I come on here in the morning to talk to you all and just kind of spit my thoughts out. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about one of the biggest lies that's been told to people with mental health conditions. You know, I want to really challenge this concept today. So before we talk about it, let's go ahead and talk about where we are from. I'm checking in from sunny Los Angeles, California today. The sun is just about coming out, so I'm starting to feel good. So let me know where you all are checking in from, and then let's get to it. Morning. Yee! I see all the morning love in there. We got love from Cleveland. Christopher, what's going on? Love from Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Canada, Flint, Michigan. Okay, St. Louis in the house. Okay. Alabama, Hartford, Connecticut. Oh, wow. So we have people from all over the place. Denver, Buffalo, Oregon. Awesome. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Northern New York, Canada, Philly. Okay. All right. I love it. I'm not far from you. Yeah, I'm out here in LA. So if you're in Southern California, you're probably not too far. All right. So I want to talk about one of the biggest lies that's been told to you. And this is the lie that you can't do it, right? Or you can't do something. And like I said, every now and then I'll go through my DMs and I'll look for like a recurring theme. What are people asking about? What are people saying? And even though I can't answer the DMs, right, I still look through it and I'm like, all right, when I get the chance, right, what are people talking about? And I get so many people who say things like, well, I have ADHD. I don't know if I can do this, or I have this or this. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can have a relationship, or this didn't work out for me. So I'm not sure if I can do this or that. You know, and I think that's one of the biggest lies that's been told to people in general, the fact that you can't do something, right? And I don't think it's a matter of you can or can't. It's a matter of you haven't been able to do so at this moment, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. You can do it. You just haven't done it yet. You haven't pulled it off, you know? So I want y'all to keep that in mind. And I see this a lot. I see this a lot with ADHD, right? And I don't know where, and I have ADHD myself. So I'm thinking back, in my life, I'm trying to figure out if somebody or some teacher ever told me that I could not do something. I had a teacher who told me that after high school I should work at a gas station, so my mom didn't like that. But I think for the average person with ADHD, over the course of your life, you go through a lot of things that kind of dampen your morale, and you feel like you can't do something. And before you know it, you convince yourself, you're like, all right, I can't do this. And it's something that you are fully capable of doing, something that you want to do, but you've almost allowed people to delude you to think that you can't do that particular thing, But this is all across the mental spectrum, right? If you have autism and somebody's like, oh, this person is too socially awkward, he can't do X, Y, and Z. There are lots of individuals living with autism who have found their space, so it's about you finding your space. You have depression. You can't get out of bed. You feel like you're stuck. Yeah, some days are gonna be like that, but on the days that you have energy, let's make some magic happen. We can do something. I have anxiety. I can't go outside. You could go outside, but at this moment, you're having a hard time, going outside and interacting with people. You're having a hard time not living in the moment. But not that you can't do it. You're just having a hard time doing it right now. So that's one of the biggest lies I think has been told to people. And, I'm not sure where we start when it comes to, to breaking this mindset. I think things like this are helpful, right? Going live and talking to people. But I think we do need a little bit more, right? So we do have to reach more people. But I think that by one of the simplest ways to do this, right? And I'll get into you all's comments because I can't wait to get to the feedback. One of the simplest ways to do this is by being authentic and living your truth and being the best version of yourself, right? And all that requires is you believing yourself and doing a little bit each and every day to get you closer to your goal, right? And then as you get seriously close to your goal, you turn around and you tell people what you've been through, right? So for like me, for example, right? I'm doing some pretty cool things, right? In LA. I think I'm doing some pretty cool stuff, right? So if you ask me, I think it's cool, right? So I'll tell my story, and along the way, I'll say, "Hey, I have ADHD. This is what my life has been like. And this is what I've struggled with, but I was able to do this. You can do something like this or better or whatever you want to do, But I was able to do this. Of course, I had to ask for a lot of help along the way, but I was able to do it. And you are fully capable of doing a similar thing, right? So when you go through your, life and BS and ups and downs, and then you reach back and tell people what you've done, it allows them to believe that, oh wow, I can do this too. And sometimes that's the only thing that's needed, like the catalyst to get you going. So I just wanted to say that. And let me get into the comments, but I had to get my thoughts off. I had to get my thoughts off. Let me see what people were saying. Renee, I appreciate you. Let me see. My parents didn't want to medicate out of worry, and now I'm facing the consequences. Close to fixing it though. Sarah, wow. I don't even know what to say about this, and I can relate. My my mom, she would not believe that any one of her kids had anything wrong with them. So I don't blame her at all. My mom and I were tight. I love my mom, right? She was doing the best that she could with the knowledge that she had at the time, right? So for one of her kids to take medications as a child was out of a I'm not gonna take meds, And to be honest with y'all, to be completely honest, because I do my best to be transparent. Meds were viewed as kind of like a white people thing. Like white people, have money and go sit in these fancy offices and they go get prescriptions. But we're black, we're from Africa. We're gonna pray to God, and we don't need that type of help. So that was the thinking back then. And now that we know so much more, we can do better, right? And I think it is important to be vulnerable and tell the truth. I'm such a big fan of telling the truth, because it's going to help somebody out. But Sarah, now that you're an adult and you can advocate for yourself, whatever you can do to put yourself in a better position, I'm rooting for you. I love to dance and slow dancer, but nothing hurt me more. Natalia, what does somebody say? Who do we have to fight this morning? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. One son has MDD and my youngest has autism, and both have ADHD. I say you just have to find your own way. Amanda, I agree. Both want to go to college and go far in life. I support fully. My oldest has ADHD. He's getting ready to pick his college. Amanda, he's going to be successful in college. He's going to do great. Or he or she. I'm not sure if your oldest is a boy or girl, but they're going to do great, and it's important to acknowledge, ADHD, major depressive disorder, autism, all these things, because they do affect your life in significant ways. Like to not acknowledge it would be like, it wouldn't put the person in the best position to succeed. But you have to tell that person that they're good, they're able to do something. It's going to boost their confidence and go a long way. Our biggest lie is you're not different than anyone. You can choose to do it like everyone does. So, Amber, everybody. So, in regards to mental health, especially if somebody's like living with debilitating depression or chronic illnesses, I do believe that you probably don't have the same amount of time that everybody has in a day, right? If the average person has like 15, 16 hours of being productive, you may have like 8, because of depression, chronic illness, things like that. So I do think that it could be harder for some people. But there is something small that you could do. But if you're at a point where you can't do anything, don't judge yourself, take care of yourself, and then you're going to get to that point where you can make a difference a little bit later. My dad said I'd never be anything. Leon, damn, this comment is kind of heartbreaking, Leandra. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm telling you can do something. A lot of people with bipolar disorder are very, very, very good at what they do. A lot of celebrities, I think Jim Carrey's talked about having bipolar disorder. Mariah Carey's spoken about having it. And isn't Mariah Carey one of the top 5 singers of all time, right? Every Christmas, what do we do? every Christmas, what song did we listen to? Um, you know, Desi said, "I caught alive. I was so happy. Hey, I'm happy you caught live too." Um, I've heard untreated ADHD is one of the leading causes of depression. I do believe that untreated ADHD can be one of the primary causes of depression for adults. I do believe that. Leading cause, I need to go back and look at it. I need to find literature that supports that, right? Everything is evidence based around here. We do a lot of clapping and laughing and having fun, but if it's not evidence based, and I don't want to, spread that information. But I do believe that untreated ADHD can be one of the main things to cause depression in adults. So, Justin, good comment right there. Christy, I'm very sorry to hear this, and this is where I think sliding scales. There's a lot of clinics and people who offer like sliding scale help. I know when I was accepting, patients in Arizona, for example, I'll give you an example. Like the fee for a psychiatric evaluation, we were charging like $400, right? And we would do like a sliding scale. And my assistant came up with this. She's marvelous. So based off the person's income or how much they could pay, that number would drop down to like 150 or 200 or whatever. Or if they could pay everything $400. So some people are able to have a business where they can do these changes, and some people can't. But as I know more about people who are offering these services, I'll do my best to put it out there. But mental health does affect it can affect your marriage, your parenting, and your career. So whatever we can do to help spread that information is, is going to be a good thing. But sliding scale clinics do exist, and when it comes to mental health, it's supply and demand. We just don't have enough clinicians, and the system in general is just not where it needs to be, So and I think what I'm doing online, I think that's very helpful, like educating people, even though it's not direct patient care, right? So hopefully that's of help. Leela, what's going on? You made it. You made it. Is medication always the answer? No, I don't think it's always the answer. I think it can be very helpful, but I don't think it's always the answer. And even with meds, sometimes people need therapy or coaching or things of that nature. Phoebe, good morning. How you doing? Punk Chastity, morning. How you doing? I have to take my meds, but my church thinks differently. I don't tell anyone; it's not their business. Natalia, I like this right here. I like this. It's nobody. It's not a requirement that when you go to church and you're doing your thing, you have to tell somebody that you're taking medications. It's not their business. Like I'm a big fan. I'm cordial. I love people. I don't look for confrontation. I don't mind it if we can solve a problem. Like not like physical confrontation, right? That's like a last resort thing. You never want to have to do that. But talking something through, I don't mind approaching a difficult topic. Some things are just not other people's business, and this is one of them, right? People, you're not required to tell anybody anything about your mental health. So like that. Amber saying one of the biggest lies that once you're an adult, you don't have it anymore. Once you're an adult, your ADHD is gone, and now you're neurotypical like everyone else. That's another biggest lie, right? That's another biggest lie. And I almost feel like adult ADHD could be worse than pediatric ADHD, and I'll tell you why. Because as a child, right, you have help. Help is there for you, right? Assuming you were diagnosed as a child and you had meds therapy, and that may not have been sufficient, but you had somebody waking you up saying, "Hey, you gotta get up for school. It's 7 o'clock. Come miss the bus." You had teachers saying, "Hey, wake up, do this, do this, do that." You had that external accountability was already lined up for you, right? But if you're an adult and you don't have the sufficient coping skills and you don't have therapy meds or whatever you would want to help yourself out, then it's like its own version of hell right there. It's pretty difficult. Pretty difficult. Let me see. The meds make me sleep all the time. Right. This is where it's important to go back and talk to your clinician. Like I know sometimes I would, and I don't think I'm good at my job, but sometimes I'll go ahead and put in the med, boom, 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 and then I forget that if you give somebody something that's like Remeron or Zyprexa that is going to make them sleepy, and they might be groggy in the morning, right? But your clinician should know this. So just don't feel bad having to reach back to them and let them know what's going on. All right. Let me see. All right. So actually, what I'm thinking about doing with this morning show, because I'm not even sure which format we're gonna kind of take it in. I'm thinking about, it's like we're 15 minutes in right now. Like we could do, my little rant for 15 minutes where I talk about something that I want to get off my chest. Like one of the biggest lies told to you is that you can't do something. I hope that helped out people. And then maybe for the next 15 minutes we could do Q&A, I guess. Look, we're winging this until something sticks. So let me answer a couple of questions. Is it possible to be misdiagnosed as bipolar when in fact you have ADHD? Yes, Lindsay. Humans are humans, right? And your doctor or nurse practitioner or PA or psychologist, you could be misdiagnosed. I think there is some overlap between the two, right? There's no mania and ADHD, but there is some overlap between the two, and I can see how somebody would get those two confused, right? Yeah. Let me see. Buddy, how do I recover from a breakup that put me uh, in mentally lost? She lied so much. She was talking to another dude behind my back while telling me fairy tales. Mickey Ficky. She made me believe that everything was great. One day she left and she hasn't spoken to me. Nothing helped, buddy. All right, buddy. This situation really does suck, right? Because she she lied, and then you were she led you on, and all of a sudden, boom, she gets with another guy, and she's not there anymore. So the first thing I'll say is, not that I wish for anything bad to happen to her, because I don't. But sometimes the energy that you put out may return to you, and I hope for her sake that doesn't return to her, right? So you have to, now your life is your own to live without her. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, because if you have somebody like this in your circle and they're capable of doing this, like they're capable of lying to you and leaving you, I think you're probably better off, the way you are now than with this person, right? And obviously, you want love, you want to be with somebody. So I'm hoping that you find somebody who is compatible for you. And when you find that person, you're gonna be so happy that you let go of this previous situation, because this right here, like if this person had this much control over you to where they could lie to you and do all this stuff, then it's kind of like they had you like on a yo-yo string. And when people have that much control over you, it's like your whole mental health is like in their hands. They can do whatever. So this could be an opportunity for growth. But this sucks. Like, I'm not saying that's something that you go through in order to learn. Like, this sucks. It's unacceptable. And I hope that for the next relationship you find somebody who is appropriate for you. But I'm very sorry to hear this. Adult juggling 20 tasks. Yeah, it's tough. Adult untreated ADHD. Yeah, and look, I don't know where. I think for me the best thing that I can do is advocating, talking online. But with adult ADHD, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot to do to get the information now. All right. Let me see. Look at these questions. Karma is karma is something else, right? But yeah, there's better women, and we will have this conversation on male mental health. Like, I'm gonna have a live work or lay out the rules, in my opinion, on what men should look for in lives when it comes to mental health, what they should look for in their friends, they should look for in a relationship, in a woman, right, or any type of in any type of relationship, regardless of wherever sex your partner is, right? Because every relationship, right, whether it's traditional ones or the non-traditional ones, there needs to be some basic level of like respect and honesty. And it should be more than that. It shouldn't be like some, but that's the common denominator in our relationship. So I'm very confident that you'll find you know a better role for you. So to speak about insomnia, yeah. So insomnia is and look, we talk a lot about ADHD on here, and the ironic thing about it is that one of the best things that you can do if you have ADHD, one of the best things, like it's up there with it's up there, right? One of the best things that you can do is to get sleep. It really is to get sleep. You have to figure out how you can get sleep, that 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and sometimes you might cut it close, unless it might be 5, right? But we hope you get back closer towards 7, right? But getting enough sleep is one. It helps out your ADHD so much. But if you're having racing thoughts at night, then you might have a hard time sleeping. So I think it's important to find a nighttime routine for you. Try not to be on your phone too much. I've spoken about how the blue light suppresses the melatonin and you have a hard time sleeping. And sometimes some people have to take meds to help them sleep, right? If you gotta do that, no shame in that. Reach out to your psych or your PCP and let them know. But the body needs rest, and like for me, I love I love making videos. I love collaborating. I love doing everything that I do. So sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go to sleep. I want to work on this, but like I have to go to sleep or I'm going to be gassed out the next day. I can't work out. I can't do this. So I made sleep a high priority, right? You know, Doc, ADHD is hard to diagnose. Here, have some. I have no comment for this. I have no comment for this one. Is it possible to be diagnosed with mental illness without ever meeting a doctor at all? Maybe if you did it through telehealth like this, right? But you'd have to meet with a professional before you can get diagnosed with anything. All right. Setting up to eat. Phaedra, I hope that's how you say it. I would, if you're still struggling to eat, like that's one of the things that we have to do, right? We have to eat. We gotta sleep. It's one of the key fundamental things that we do every day. I would definitely see if you can reach back out to your doctor, or whether there's a lack of appetite or whether you're still developing that relationship with your body. But give yourself credit. Like if you're having a hard time, eating, you're able to eat a pesto sandwich or something like that. You gotta be proud of yourself. How important is gut health? Ooh, Mickey Ficky. This is very important. This is very important. I don't know if it's going to replace like medications, which are first line, but it's extremely important. And even like with my dietitian last year, I learned so much. I've cut out processed foods, and I mean, I was at Coachella this weekend, right? They were serving all kinds of food. I ate it. So every now and then, like you eat a cheeseburger or two. It's not the end of the world, right? But I just want people to know that, like, don't eat a cheeseburger or eat a funnel cake or have 2 churros, and you're like, oh no, that's it. Like that's not the end of the world. But consistently, reducing processed foods, hopefully eliminating it, but reducing it. Synthetic food dyes, refined sugars, all these things. Like I feel better. Like I feel like I look good. Because I'm not eating these things anymore. And so many factors going into play into being able to allow you to do this, right? Even for me to pay a dietitian was pretty expensive to get that extra knowledge, right? Then on top of that, do you live in the area where they serve these foods regularly? I live in Los Angeles now, so all these restaurants where I can go and pick up non-processed foods. It wasn't like that when I lived in Williamsburg, Virginia, right? So it can be very difficult depending on where you're at, or how your finances are. I mean, that's what this channel is for, right? I put out this information for free, and I hope it sticks, and I hope it helps people out. Is ADHD genetic, hereditary? Yes, it is. I can just stop right there and answer that question. It definitely is. It has a strong genetic link. So that's, and I've seen a lot of mothers who have been diagnosed after their child was diagnosed, and they're like 33, 35, 38. You know, I always thought I was just in the night owl ever since I was little. My most productive time is when everyone is asleep. That's how I am too, Misty. And I mean, could be insomnia, could be the fact that maybe there's less stimuli and you work better. And some people do work later into the night. Like I think if you're somebody who naturally sleeps every day at 12 a.m., um, if you're able to wake up at 7:38, you still got 8 hours of sleep, right? So like if that works out for you, then that worked out for you, right? You know, it worked out for you. Let me see. How should I approach my doctor in regards to symptoms that are overlapping for multiple diagnoses? Got fibro, which gives me brain fog. ADHD can also make me forget outside short-term, but medication different for both. Right. So literally, you know, it almost sounds too simple, but I get it. It can be difficult. So I would go up and tell you, like, what you just said right here. This is perfect. Like this thing right here, Jen. I mean, and keep in mind these lives you can go back and play it back, right? But literally, what you just said out here is perfect. Like I'm not sure if it's my fibro, I'm hurting, blah blah blah. If I have brain fog, but I think it could be my ADHD. Bring it up, right? It's their job to, like, decipher and determine what's what and diagnose. And if you're not satisfied, like you can say, respectfully, hey, I really think that I should be getting treated for this or that, and I don't think that I'm getting the proper help that I need. Or you can say something along the lines of, I think it's something else. I'm not sure. Of course, it is up to your provider to choose where to go from there. But like you should be able to advocate for yourself. Um, Let me see. Uh, how different is cyclothymia from bipolar disorder? Is having ADHD along with either one always common? All right. So for the last part with ADHD, you can have a lot of co-occurring conditions, right? Cyclothymia could be, there. So could bipolar disorder, right? But when you look at cyclothymia, like if look for something in this kitchen or all right. So let's just take this right here. This is my dog's toy. Let's say this thing right here. Y'all see this thing? Let's say this is like the normal human emotions, right? So think of bipolar disorder. Let's think of bipolar 1, right? You're gonna have at least a Mac episode, right? This is like right normal mood. The Mac episode in bipolar 1. Once you have like a full blown manic episode, is bipolar 1, right? Even without ever having a depressive episode. Bipolar 2, you have to have that major depressive episode, and then you have to have hypomania. You can't have mania. If it's mania, it's not bipolar 2 anymore, it's bipolar 1, right? And with cyclothymia, it's like you never meet the criteria for 1 or 2, but you're kind of like always like here or there. That makes sense. This is like the worst thing to use, but hopefully that made like a little bit of sense. Does Adderall work for adult ADD? I'm not hyper. So the stimulants are first line with ADHD, and Adderall would be one of them. So Adderall would work, or it could work. It's one of the more effective things, but it doesn't work for everybody, right? I'm trying to get better. Hey, that's all we can do, Missy. That's all we can do. Um, what are your thoughts on DID? Not as common as people make it out to be, but it is real, and I think that people don't talk about the trauma that's behind dissociation in general, um, and that's where sometimes we should focus the conversation. All right, let me try and squeeze one more here. Um, uh, It happens shockingly more than people realize, but eventually you find people who do and show you what true love feels like. then you're like, WTF, I don't know what to do with this real love. Trisha, yes. So, Trisha, you bring up a good point. And, we're going to have another live about this where we talk about, I think the hardest relationship that a lot of people will have to go through, it may not be the toxic one. Well, I'm obviously toxic one is like the slam dunk answer, but the low key hard relationship that you may not expect it to be hard, but it actually ends up being hard is the first healthy relationship after a toxic one, right? Because you have to unlearn so much. And just like Trisha saying here, you're like, WTF, I don't know what to do with this real love because like I don't have to fight. We don't have to call each other names. We don't have to put hands on each other. Whatever the case is, we don't have to have that, volatile up and down, that turbulent nature of what you thought love was. So sometimes that first like healthy relationship after toxic one can be tough because you have to figure out like, all right, what's going on here? And like this is not like congruent with my soul. Like, biggest lie. She's saying she loved me. Yeah, but well, if she said she loved you and she didn't, then I, I'm I'm a big fan of wishing people the best and then just moving on with your life, right? And then Ernesto, you might boss up, right? You boss up, and then that's why it's important to just believe in people and treat people well. We should do that regardless, but you never know where somebody's gonna be. Look, Ernesto, you might boss up 5, 10 years from now. You're doing your thing, and then she comes back like, "Oh, Ernesto, I see you on what," and then you're gone. You're like, "Hey, like I'm doing my thing now." So if that's the lie that she told you, let her have it, right? Don't wish nothing bad on her. We're just gonna keep it pushing. Can we do? Yes, Maria. We will have a live, probably during like when the nighttime shows about BPD. Uh, I'll probably have like a whole because I get so many questions on it. We'll probably just do like a BPD Q&A. Honestly, I think that would bring a lot of value to you all. All right, let me answer Kayla's question and get out of here. I tried asking this a few times, but I haven't been able to listen for so long. I don't know if you answered or not. Can you speak about substance use and ADHD or just in general? Something I've been interested in. All right, so I've seen literature that supports the notion that untreated ADHD can lead to substance use, um, more car accidents, and also increase in sexually transmitted infections, right? And I mean, this makes sense to me, right? Because sometimes with ADHD, like you're going through life and you're not sure what's going on, so people tend to self medicate a lot. Substances like alcohol. A lot of I've seen a study that was very interesting that a lot of people who regularly smoke, cannabis, right? Uh, when evaluated, a lot of them turned out to actually have ADHD. I thought that was fascinating. I feel like I've talked about that before in a video. So it's important to, and once again, like that's why people kind of get up in arms about the ADHD meds. Like, should we give this medication or not? Or boom, boom, boom. It's a controlled substance, but sometimes that medication is the thing that can help prevent substance use, right? So I think it's important to talk about it. Really good question, Kayla. Really, really good question. Really good question. Oh, Mickey Ficky, your Mac will sleep soon. All right, yo, this Mac is about to die anyway. Um, so I gotta get off of here. How much battery power do I have? Shoot, 7. All right, okay. Yeah, I gotta get off. But continue to watch the live stream. Leave questions in there. I have my assistants looking up and down, left and right through my Facebook to see what people are asking about. And at best, I can turn that into a video, like a short reel, or something funny to make y'all laugh and also educate y'all at the same time. But I gotta go before this thing cuts up on me. Y'all take care and have a fantastic morning. Let's get it. All right, it's been down on me.